Good morning, guys. It's been quite a while since I've done a heart-to-heart video with all of you. I hope that you've enjoyed our tremendous, amazing, educational for us as a couple, educational for me as an individual, and hopefully educational for you as the viewers. I want to take the time here to reflect on some of the things that I have seen and have gotten these like aha moments, from the additional gray hairs that are growing on my head. As a human being, a spirit, we forget that our main purpose here on this planet is to grow as spirit beings and not get so caught up in our materialistic, humanistic, biological sense of the word self. We do things based on what we see, on what society deems as appropriate, and we try to copy, fit in, create these non-reality as if it were our own realities. Then what happens is, after we have followed that rabbit hole, we're stuck in a world that we really can't get out of. Now, in saying that, my purpose of this talk is to get people to understand I'm not trying to harass anyone. I'm not trying to pick on any particular group. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm trying to understand myself, trying to understand this transgender dilemma that has taken this world by surprise, by whatever words, and then pardon, sometimes words don't come out the way that I want them to. As you all know, I'm Cuban, so sometimes expressing myself is not easy with words. But this whole transgender phenomenon that has taken place, especially in the last few years, it's just like skyrocketed, I think is a disease of society, of the patriarchal, the stereotypes, the religious sectors that have literally created this, although they're not aware. I mean, they criticize, but they don't realize that they have created this whole gender boxed, strict roles that people take on. I want to first say that mothers are responsible for raising their children, as are fathers, but mothers have a very important role. And that important role is not to like spoil rotten little boys and make them feel like they have a sense of entitlement, that they have the right to take what's not theirs and just do whatever they want because they're boys. And little girls are raised totally different. And please, before you say, oh, that's a load of crap, listen. Travel, observe. Not just behind a TV set, not just behind your computer. Actually travel and observe what we have seen in these past 75 days. And it's so evident. It cannot be argued as much as you want to argue, because that's what human beings do. They love to argue. Oh, no, it's not like this. That's your views, not my views. But it's not a matter of views. It's just a matter of like observing and finding the concrete factors that make things so. For instance, yesterday, pardon the airplane that's flying by. Yesterday we were at a park having our breakfast. This beautiful park in Hood, Oregon, right on the river, Hood River. And this mother and young girl who was, by the way, very gender fluid. That's another thing I've noticed. A lot of gender fluidity. A lot of girls expressing their masculine tomboy side more so than before. They were playing on this little circular thing where you get on and you have to try to balance yourself. And they were having a good old time, mother and daughter sharing experience, mother allowing the child to have, her expression. She was wearing boys' clothes, a boy's cap, and just being in her masculine energy without being criticized, which is something that a lot of us grew up with criticism. I knew I did. So here you have, they're having a good old time. Then comes this boy, probably maybe 7, 6, 8 at most. And the boy sits there, gets on this contraption, and automatically the mother and the daughter get off, as in to, give way to this child that has totally, just taken over in his presence of, I'm a man, here I am, get out, ladies. And they did just that without a peep. So I see this, and I had to speak up. I said, wait a minute, whoa, 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 they were here first. You didn't ask if you could join them. You just suited your presence and took over. I says, you get out of that machine right now and let them play. They were just getting, the mother and the girl were getting ready to leave. And they returned, because I said, no, you come back. You were on there first. They get on, they're playing, she thanks me, and I'm like, this is the problem. This is the major problem that, there's people coming, so I might have to cut this short. People just, totally don't understand that is how mothers have raised their children. And I'll have to continue this because there's somebody coming, and I think they reserved this area that we're on. So talk to you guys soon. I will continue it shortly. So you guys, I wanted to finish what I started this morning, conversation that I was having, expressing a lot of my feelings and reflections since I've been on this journey. This morning when I was using the restroom, like I always do every morning, wherever it is that we sleep for the night. Last night was a Love's truck stop or gas station. Proceeded to go in the bathroom. And, this whole bathroom thing, ever since I transitioned, has always been a major nightmare. And not so much for fear, because I've never really feared anything. It's just feeling out of place, and realizing that the male species reacts in certain ways that are very different from the female species, and their body language, how they conduct themselves, the way they, or the lack of taking care of their bodies, which shows in this massive hacking. I mean, ever since I've been on this journey and going on these truck stops, there's guys next to me while I'm washing my hands are just coughing up a lung, or they're sitting in the stall next to me, they're coughing, and just this whole sense of unwellness because they don't take care of their body, because they lead a life of such, I call it negativity, and it all shows in the way they present themselves and the way they act. So here I am doing my business in the bathroom, and I'm listening because I'm very heightened from what happened the day before yesterday with a little kid who bullied the mother and her daughter. So now I'm like really paying attention to everything and how men act. And guy next to me proceeds, I guess, to wipe his ass, and takes, you take toilet paper, take a few, you fold it, wipe, fold it again, wipe. I notice that a lot of men don't know how to wipe their ass. It's just they're pulling out this whole shitload of toilet paper like they're gonna clean out an elephant's ass, And I'm like so in tune with that. I go, well, gosh, when I pull out my toilet paper, I don't want the whole entire bathroom to hear what I'm doing. I'm doing my business and I'm doing it quietly. So, plum, 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 cough, cough, cough. Then I go. I'm done doing my thing, keeping everything organized and clean after myself, which is something I can never go into a bathroom that anyone has cleaned after themselves. It's always either toilet paper on the floor or a bowl full of crap they never even flush. It's just, I think their mothers teach them, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling because I have so many thoughts in my head. It's like their mothers don't teach them to look after themselves, to be considerate of other people, because they're constantly pampering them, doing everything for them instead of just teaching them what they could do for themselves so they don't have to be slobs and all that stuff. And I know not all men are slobs. There are some men that are clean and organized and all that stuff, but for the most part, most don't even know how to wipe their own ass. So I proceed and go wash my hands, and still hearing the coughing of the lung. There was a guy who was coughing for like 5 minutes, and it's like, gosh, what can possess a person not to take care of themselves so much that they're full of mucus and unhealthy? When you see them, they're fat and they just eat whatever. Like their body, to them, is like a garbage disposal, I guess. So I'm in the bathroom washing my hands, shaving, and going, God, I don't belong in this place. This place just seems so foreign. After 15 years in my life, it's still to this day feels totally foreign. And my point from this morning was that if mothers took the time to raise their kids differently, I think that this whole patriarchal system could change. It didn't have to be, or it doesn't have to be the way that it is, where men feel that the world's for their taking and they're going to do whatever they want, versus learning to coexist, learning to respect what's around them, learning to find their center. And their center is nurturing. Finding your center means being compassionate. I see that in the trans community, where trans women claim womanhood, and they claim it so like, hey, I'm a woman. And it's like they're claiming what men have created a woman to be. The clothing, the having fun going out drinking. They don't claim the responsibilities that women have had to have for centuries. They don't claim the suffering, because they can't. They can't claim that. It's all very visual and linear, as, men have been taught to be. We were talking the day before yesterday with this lady who happened to walk by and just strike a conversation with Lena and I. And we're talking about whoever designed certain things, like the park, for instance, had this table in the middle of the walkway or the pathway. Poor design, because if you have a wheelchair, how are you supposed to get around that? But linear thinking, most of the things that you see in the world have been designed by men, and it's all non-functional. Men aren't just like, we'll drive the screw through here and that's how it goes. They don't think of ramifications, long-term effects of what they do. So, basically what I'm trying to say here is that life is an education. And as human beings, the only way we're going to grow and learn is to really visualize or observe life around you. And when people think that stereotypes are not real, all you have to do is take some time, travel, and observe. Like yesterday's little girl or young lady and their mother being kicked out by a 7-year-old. And then reinforcement came in because I was able to talk the boy leaving and letting the girl and the mother get on there. But as I started proceeding to speak with the other lady, they sneaked in. There were 5 or 6 kids who came in reinforcement and had kicked the mother and the daughter out again, which, it really upset me that I wasn't there or was paying attention to be able to, stop that from happening. We need to, each and every one of us, really take responsibility. Look within. Not just be narcissistic, self-centered individuals, but look within and realize what we do affects one another. The world doesn't just revolve around one person and their so-called needs. There are people that are born with massive disabilities, and I don't consider the whole two-spirited transgender thing to be a disability. We are making it that way because we're trying to gain attention, we're trying to get validation, we're trying to ram in our beliefs and forgetting that the true owner of that label, woman, didn't ask to be born that way. We were born as women, and as women, we've had to deal with a lot of problems and issues in the world. And it hurts me to see that this day and age, it continues. Misogynistics, this whole transgender thing to me is just another form of misogyny against women. And I know not all trans women feel that way. I know my Lena has grown leaps and bounds, and she sees things totally different. To the point that last week, I was very proud of her. She actually, because she was trying to let her facial hair grow in so she could pluck them and try a different approach, used the actual male bathroom for 3 or 4 days because she did not want to be going to a female bathroom and invading that space looking the way that she was looking. In actual fact, majority of the time, she goes into the family bathroom. I mean, we both prefer that over any other bathroom. They're a lot cleaner and a lot safer, and you have privacy. So I know my Lena has grown, and she's seen so much that she may not have seen in the beginning, because again, it's that narcissistic, self-centered mentality that as trans people we end up adopting because of whatever traumas we have faced growing up as children that led this path in the first place. So don't think anything else, that this is just another adaptation technique of trying to deal with pain that we've been through as children and create this character, this disassociation that you see before you. And you look deep inside and you're true to yourself, you'll see that. And I know many of you are going to criticize me. I'm used to it by now because truth hurts, but truth will always be the truth. And I know you're going to say, well, it's your truth, not my truth. Listen, I've been around trans people for many years, and I've experienced and see it. I see it every day on Facebook pages. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that what I'm saying has value and truth in it. Anyway, I don't know if my Lena wants to say anything else.
No, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about the costume and how you felt, you know.
There are times, actually, a week ago we went to this library, and sitting there waiting for Lena to use the family restroom, which she was able to get in because somebody had come out with a child, and according to what it said, you needed a key to be able to use that. So I'm sitting there waiting. All of a sudden, 2 minutes pass by. This one lady comes and asks me, "Excuse me, can I help you?" I'm like, "No, do you have kids? Are you waiting to use the restroom because you have kids?" Like, "No, my wife's in the restroom. I'm just waiting out here for her." "Oh, okay." And I let that go. 2 minutes pass by. Another woman comes up. "You're not allowed to use that restroom." I'm not planning to use the restroom. I'm waiting for my wife to come out of the restroom. It's like they felt like I was either some pedophile waiting for kitties to come out. It's like ever since I've had this costume, ever since I've had this whole, let's move over here. It's like
Yet again. Okay, right here.
And speaking, and somebody just decides that. Ever since I've
A little bit of crowd.
transitioned, I've always felt totally, displaced. It's like I don't think any different than how I thought when I was presenting as my female self. My mind still thinks as a female. You can't change that mind. As much as we want to change, hormones do only do so much. So there are times where I find myself wanting to create certain things, like speak to a child in a certain way, and I'm like quickly reminded that if I do such a thing, I'm going to get the living shit beat out of me by the father. Like that boy that bullied those two women, the mother and the daughter. If I would have gone up, and like shook the boy or something that I would have done as my female persona, I wouldn't have gotten away with it. In this kind of costume that I now have to wear permanently, the reactions are totally different. And I know that. I know that for a fact, that it's very uncomfortable. It's not something that, many trans people want to think, but I realize that when you do this, it's a game changer. And it's not a good change. It's really, it's not a good thing. It's hard. I mean, it's like people have no space boundaries whatsoever. We're sitting over there or standing over there, instead of saying, "Oh, they're recording. Let me not interfere." And then they go and sit. It's got the education of a lifetime travel and see the rudeness and lack of boundaries that people have, you know? But anyway, yeah, it's not fun when you're living in another skin from the skin that you're actually born as. After you get away from the thrills and the whole honeymoon stage, you start to realize that you gave away something so valuable, so precious, that I will never be able to give back. No matter what I do, no matter what I try doing, the masculinization that I have created will forever affect my life.